Okay, let's dive right in. We all know that feeling, don't we? You're staring down some huge life choice. Maybe it's a job switch, maybe moving cities, or, getting serious or ending a relationship. And bam, you hit a wall. You just freeze. And the first thought is, okay, I'm burned out, or this is just too much, it's overwhelmed. It's modern life, right?
Right, that's the easy out. That's the diagnosis everyone kind of nods along to. But what if?
Mhm.
What if that internal brick wall, that total paralysis you feel, what if it's not just about having too many options? What if the real reason you feel so utterly stuck, like you cannot make a decision that feels, well, final? What if it's actually a performance? A quiet, really well-rehearsed playback of a much, much older fear.
Yeah, we're trying to look past those surface explanations today. We want to challenge this whole idea that being an adult is just inherently impossible now, and maybe suggest that we're living in a system built on something, let's call it curated infantilization.
Curated infantilization. I like that.
Right, where adulthood kind of feels optional because the culture around us, and honestly our own internal coping mechanisms, they almost reward us for perpetually figuring things out.
It's the big irony of our time, isn't it? We have all this supposed freedom, more choices than ever, but collectively, we seem to be dodging the decisions that actually carry weight. So our mission here is really interpretation, pure and simple. We're diving deep into your unconscious script. We're trying to decode the symptoms you see, the endless procrastination, the ghosting people, the agonizing over every tiny detail, analysis paralysis.
And look, we're not here to judge you for putting things off, not at all. It's about recognizing the unconscious drama that's unfolding inside. Every single time you face a serious choice and think, I'll deal with it tomorrow.
Exactly. Let's get into those symptoms
Right.
because they are everywhere, and weirdly, sometimes they're even celebrated.
Oh, totally. I mean, that feeling of being sort of developmentally stuck, that nagging sense that you haven't quite
Yeah.
landed in adulthood, even if you're paying bills and holding down a job.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating is how normal it's become. You hear someone, maybe, a super capable 32-year-old, asking completely seriously, what do I actually want to be when I grow up?
Right.
Or you see the constant job hopping. Now, sometimes that is about ambition or finding the right fit, sure. But other times, the second things get genuinely difficult, or there's real friction, or maybe you have to navigate some necessary conflict,
Yeah.
that little voice pipes up, this isn't fun anymore. Can we just stop this?
That voice, that whisper has a long history, doesn't it? This kind of behavior, it's not just being immature, it's actually a pretty sophisticated psychological survival strategy. If we put on our, let's say, classic psychoanalytic glasses, what we're seeing here is textbook regression.
Exactly, regression. It's like the psyche slams on the emergency brake and retreats back to a developmental stage that felt safer, simpler.
Yeah.
You're essentially telling your complex, adult decision-making brain to take a back seat, and you're handing the steering wheel over to your inner child, hoping they can handle the chaos of modern life.
And that inner child driver, they don't exactly have an adult license, do they? That part of your psyche, it really only operates on maybe 3 very basic primal demands. 1, I want it to feel safe, like right now. 2, I want praise, I want approval. And 3, if it gets hard, if I feel any pain, I want anyone to jump in and fix it for me.
And adult decisions, just by their nature, tend to violate all 3 of those rules, don't they? They feel terrifying, not necessarily because they're so complex, but because they often have a sense of finality.
Yeah, finality, that's the killer word.
Right. Finality means no takebacks, no guarantee it's going to feel safe forever, and crucially, no promise that a savior figure is waiting in the wings if things go wrong. So the regression, it's this desperate, usually unconscious attempt to keep alive the illusion that, hey, if I just stall long enough, maybe someone else will step in and handle the difficult bits.
Okay, and here's where it gets really, really interesting for today. Modern culture doesn't just sort of put up with this regression, it actively cashes in on it. It rewards the avoidance. Think about, say, the dating world. Swipe culture. It can turn genuine, messy, difficult commitment into this endless game of musical chairs.
Yeah, the underlying message is clear, isn't it? Why pick one person and risk it when I can just keep swiping, keep my options open forever? But the fear there isn't really missing out on someone better. Often the deeper fear is, what if I choose and I disappoint them? Or worse, what if I choose wrong and then I'm alone with that mistake? No safety net.
And then you've got the whole self-help industry, which sometimes feels like it sells delay packaged as self-discovery. Endless courses on finding your true purpose, but very few seem to ask the really tough question. Okay, but what difficult action are you actively avoiding right now?
Right. And the product becomes another nice journal, another retreat, another year spent working on myself, while the actual moment of taking responsibility, of making a hard choice, just gets pushed further and further down the road.
Which leads to this profound internal conflict, this cognitive dissonance.
Because you genuinely feel like you're doing the right thing. I'm honoring my feelings. I'm listening to my intuition. That's the language we use. It feels empowering. But if we really look closely through that psychoanalytic lens again, often that's not your intuition talking. It's fear. Fear dressed up really convincingly as wisdom or self-care.
Okay, let's pull back the curtain then. Let's look at the actual drama playing out inside your head, the sort of Freudian cast of characters running this negotiation every single time you face a real choice.
It's exhausting just thinking about it, isn't it? They're all shouting over each other.
Totally. So first up, you've got the I'd. This is the raw, impulsive toddler within. Pure pleasure principle. Wants instant gratification, wants total safety, wants it now. It's the voice whispering, cancel that meeting. Order the pizza, stay in bed, don't risk getting criticized. It just wants to curl up somewhere warm and yell N-O at responsibility.
Then, looming over it, there's the superego. This is like the internalized critical parent, or maybe society's impossible standards. It's the voice of guilt, demanding perfection you can never reach. It's the one whispering, you should be further along. Why are you still stuck here? Look at everyone else. They've got it figured out. It generates that deep, paralyzing shame that fuels the whole avoidance cycle.
And caught in the middle, trying to manage this chaos, is the ego, the rational adult part of you, trying desperately to mediate between the id screaming, gimme, and the superego screaming, not good enough.
But what happens when the ego just gets worn down? Utterly exhausted from the conflict, it caves. It starts making excuses. It rationalizes the delay. It basically gives the screaming child the metaphorical tablet just to get some peace and quiet.
And that precise moment, that's when this curated infantilization really takes hold. When the ego effectively hands over the emotional controls, the default choice inevitably becomes comfort, distraction, avoidance. Maybe some superficial validation online over the actual, sometimes painful work of adult responsibility. Let's dig into some of those common justifications we hear all the time. The really articulate ways we explain away deep indecision, framing it as if it's some kind of advanced self-awareness or, radical self-care.
Oh yeah, these phrases are like comforting little scripts, aren't they? They sound good, they feel validating, but they often mask a real sense of panic underneath. We need to look at what's really being asked for.
Okay, take this one. I need to feel safe before I commit. We hear that a lot, the psychoanalytic translation. It's pretty immediate. You're essentially looking for a womb.
Wow, okay, a womb.
Yeah, you're asking your potential partner or your potential boss or maybe just the universe to guarantee perpetual comfort and absolutely zero challenge. And of course, no real job, no actual human relationship, certainly no meaningful life can ever promise that. So the panic you feel when reality inevitably pushes back, that's the fantasy of guaranteed safety just collapse.
All right. Okay, what about this one? I'm protecting my peace. This one feels very current, very wellness culture.
Very current, and it raises a really critical question about the difference between setting healthy boundaries and, well, repression. If protecting your peace means constantly building this massive fortress around yourself because you're terrified that letting people or challenges in might force you to change or feel uncomfortable, then you're using isolation. You might call it boundaries, but from another angle, it looks a lot like repression. Just maybe with a nice, calming spa playlist in the background.
Okay, that's sharp. How about this classic? I'm waiting for a sign.
Ah, the sign. That's not patience. That's not spirituality, usually. That is a wholesale abdication of your own agency. You're outsourcing your power.
Outsourcing it.
To astrology or tarot cards or just vague vibes or fate. Because look, if fate decides and things go wrong, well, it's not your fault, is it? You're immune to blame. You're fundamentally terrified of your own desire because desire means choosing, committing, exposing yourself. So the wait for a sign is actually a wait for permission, a wait for some kind of cosmic parent figure to say, go on, it's safe now, I'll catch you if you fall.
Mm-hmm. We also see this manifest as kind of perpetual optimization, right? Someone says, I need to optimize my energy or optimize my resources before I can possibly launch this thing.
Yes, sophisticated delay tactics. The superego is whispering about needing perfection, right? So it paralyzes the ego. The ego then has to constantly prepare, gather more data, refine the plan for a hypothetical threat or failure that might never even arrive. The real perceived threat isn't lack of skill, it's failure itself. It's exposure.
And related to that, the sort of modern academic loop, I just need one more certification.
Or one more workshop, or I need to read one more book on the topic. Yeah. It's a performance of productivity, of diligence that cleverly never requires actual accountability. Because the moment you do get that certificate or finish that book, the superego immediately moves the goalposts. But now you need this other thing. It ensures you never actually have to put yourself and your work out there in a way that could be judged.
It's fear of exposure, but it looks like you're just being really thorough.
Exactly. Fear dressed up as intellectual rigor.
And all of this behavior, the endless scrolling to numb out, the analysis paralysis, the constant procrastination, it all feeds into that deep, kind of unsettling feeling that maybe you're just fundamentally failing at this whole adulthood thing.
Right. But we need to completely reframe what that failure means. You're not inherently lazy. You're not broken. This isn't some kind of moral failing. It is resistance. Active resistance to the genuinely terrifying heavy weight of adult agency. Your indecision. It isn't a system error. It's more like an unconscious love letter, beautifully signed by the part of you, the child part, that learned really early on, hey, if I don't choose, I can't be held responsible. And if I'm not responsible, I won't get blamed.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And this brings us to a really critical concept here, libido. We have to remember, in Freudian terms, this isn't just about sex drive. It's the raw, fundamental life force. It's that psychic energy that seeks, pushes, desires, creates the engine of growth. So what happens when we engage in this curated infantilization? We effectively, we dampen or even castrate that libido.
Yeah, we neuter it. And when that genuine, messy, powerful life force gets suppressed, we tend to replace raw desire with aesthetic performance. You don't say the scary, ambitious truth like, I want to take a huge risk and try to dominate this field. No, you sanitize it. I'm manifesting abundance.
Right, or you don't acknowledge real anger or fierce commitment like, I'm furious about this situation and I'm going to build something completely different in defiance. Instead, it's, I'm setting boundaries with my energy.
It sounds nicer, doesn't it?
Less threatening.
Much nicer. But the problem is, that repressed libido, that life force, it doesn't just vanish into thin air, it mutates. It morphs into generalized anxiety, or obsessive thinking and routines, or maybe choosing partners who, deep down, won't really push you to grow, or picking careers that promise minimal vulnerability, minimal exposure. It helps you design a life that promises, above all, not to ask you to feel the full, necessary, sometimes painful spectrum of genuine human existence. So the hard truth, really, is that your strategy, and we have to acknowledge, it's often a very clever, self-preserving strategy based on what you learned early on. It's essentially a child's map. And you're trying to use that child's map to navigate the extremely complex territory of an adult world. Your nervous system gets confused, it mistakes repetition, the familiar contained pain or shame of stalling again. It mistakes that for safety.
Because it feels known, familiar.
Exactly. It feels familiar, so it must be right, even though it's the very thing keeping you stuck in the same loop.
That's the core conflict then. The unconscious is speaking. It speaks through the symptoms, the procrastination, the ghosting, the paralysis. So the key isn't to just fight the symptom harder, is it? It's to start interpreting it, listening to what it's trying to say.
Every single time you avoid making that decision, you're not just avoiding the task itself, you are fundamentally avoiding a feeling or maybe a memory associated with a potential loss of safety or approval. So you need to ask yourself, what identity, what comfortable, familiar version of myself am I protecting by not deciding right now? Often it's a well-worn identity. Maybe the wounded healer or the still figuring it all out creative type, or even the good child who learned never to cause trouble or make demands.
Yeah, and the ultimate challenge, the real work, is accepting the initiation into actual adulthood. Which isn't about having all the answers. It means choosing, even when you are scared out of your mind. It means knowing you might fail, knowing you won't be perfect. And crucially, accepting the terrifying fact that no one is coming with a permission slip. You actually have to steal the permission yourself.
That's it. That's the ultimate power shift, isn't it? Stealing the permission. So the next time you feel it, that familiar, awful, paralyzing freeze right before a big decision, try not to ask the functional question, okay, what should I do? Instead, ask the deeper psychoanalytic question, what am I refusing to feel? Or maybe refusing to see about myself by refusing to choose right now.
Name that fear. Just witness it. Witness the fragile identity that the fear is desperately trying to keep safe. Acknowledge it, but then gently but very firmly, you need to turn to that powerful inner child and say, look, I love you, I hear you, I understand your fear, but you don't get to drive anymore.
That's the moment. That's when the adult part of you finally gets to put their foot on the gas and maybe, just maybe, leave the playground behind for good.